Okay, hi everyone who's not here yet. Um, Today's topic is going to be like some people when they eat spicy stuff, like hot pot noodle, especially Asian people, they get runny nose and they don't understand why they have runny nose when they eat spicy stuff. So actually the other day I was eating spicy hot pot myself, and then I had runny nose, which I haven't had for a while. So I thought, why not talk about it today? So allow me to introduce myself. My name is Andre Shi. I'm a registered TCM practitioner. TCM stands for Traditional Chinese Medicine, and I'm registered in BC, British Columbia, Canada. So I'm allowed to practice and give advice maybe in BC. So, okay, let's get into it. So why do we get runny nose when we have spicy food? Well, first of all, spicy food is hot in nature. So when we eat the spicy food, first thing it goes through is our esophagus. So from our mouth to our stomach, it goes through here, and then goes down to the stomach. And when it goes to stomach turns hot, right? In terms of temperature. And our lung is it's actually a very humid organ. It's full of moisture from the air that you breathe in, and then from whatever cellular aspect. Our body is full 70% of water, right? So when you have such a moist air in the lung, when there's more heat coming in from the food, it actually steams up the water moisture, and then the vapor rises up through the bronchial to our mouth and nose cavity. So imagine you have a cup of water. You have and the heat boiling underneath, so you see vapor coming out of it. And if you put the lid on top of that, you'll have water moisture, or like even a bead of water forming on the top of the lid, right? So that cup is actually our lung. And the lid is actually our mouth cavity and our nose cavity and the sinus, So when this water evaporates and forms actual water droplet in the back of the mouth and in your nose, it becomes more like water, and that's why you get more water in your nose cavity, sinus, and you have runny nose. You need to blow your nose. So that's basically how it happened. But not everyone gets that. Why? It's because it only happens when the lung is too humid. Okay, so when the lung is too humid, there's too much water moisture in it. And when you have a heat, it creates a lot more water in your nose. and it becomes runny nose. So for a healthy person, they normally don't get that. Even if they do, it's very minor. Oh, also one thing I like to address is in terms of flavor, in Chinese medicine, when you have something that's spicy, it helps lung to disperse the moisture from the lung, actually to the skin, to the nose, away from the lung, basically into like you can call it water passage. Consider like a canal of how water travels in our body. And also lung is connected to the skin. So the water goes, when you eat spicy food, the water dispersed from the lung goes everywhere to your body, basically. I see there's one person watching. Hi, Woma. Can you hear me? Am I talking loud enough? Thank you for the support. Where was I? So not everyone gets runny nose when they eat spicy food. The reason why I said because the lung is the lung has too much moisture. So when you eat spicy food, it's going to create more moisture in your nose, and that becomes runny nose. A healthy person has just right amount of moisture in their lung, and when they eat spicy food, they don't get runny nose, or they get very, very little. And why does the lung get so moist? The reason being that, number one, it can be when the lung is too cold. How does that happen? It happens when you eat a lot of cold food or drink a lot of cold drinks. Because, like I said, when you drink cold stuff, everything goes through here. That goes next to, so that's next to the lung, and it will cool down the temperature of the lung. And when temperature lowers, water tend to condense and kind of keeps at the bottom of the lung. So this type of person not only get running nose when they eat spicy food, it'll also happen when they do activities like running, cycling, any cardio activity. They will get running nose because when cardio happens, your heart generates a lot of heat, and this heat will also heat up the lung, and then it will evaporate whatever moisture is in there up to the nose, and then it comes out. So in order to improve this condition, the best thing you do is actually keep exercising. And then you'll do jogging for 2 or 3 kilometers to bring up your heart rate, or cycling, or even jumping rope, or anything that helps is considered cardio exercise, will help you get rid of this extra moisture in your lung and improve your condition. And why do you want to do that is because when the lung is too moist, actually we have too much mucus in this moisture is loosely translated into Western medicine as mucus. And when you have too much mucus in your lung and your airways, and it'll sometimes stored in the sinus. So people have like allergies from like spring allergies or like a sneezing, running nose, coughing type of allergy. That's usually the cause of the allergy. So if you don't want to take Chinese medicine, or if you don't want to do acupuncture, cardio exercise is the best option for you. Oh, I see Joseph. Hi. You guys missed the first part, but I'll do it again in Chinese. So just watch the second part in Mandarin, and you'll get it. Okay, what else we should talk about? Okay, let's talk about lung. So, people have chronic cough or allergy who makes them cough, or every time they catch a cold, the first thing it happens is cough, right? That also because the lung isn't very healthy. So what do I mean by not healthy? Like, for example, when what I said, lung has is too moist, too wet. In Chinese medicine, it's considered cold, and you can say damp. So when that happens, imagine if you have a room that's very cold and damp, you have like mold growing, and it makes the room very disgusting, right? So that's an analogy that's why a moist lung can make people sick and have these allergies. But there's also the other end of spectrum, because the lung has to have certain amount of moisture in it. So when it's too dry, you're gonna have cough too. I know Asian people who likes to cook spares, boil it and then eat it as a remedy for cough. But spare is very like a moisturizing fruit. So when you eat that, you're gonna create more moisture. So that only works when the lung is too dry. You know what? Let's stop here. I don't want to get too complicated. Do you guys have any questions? I'll leave 2 minutes for questions. No questions, then I'm gonna end here, and we'll do a different language. Okay? Bye. Oh, Joseph. Lucas continues to sneeze almost daily. It's hard to answer that specific question. but kids, they're still growing. Their organs are not completely fully grown yet, so it's considered very tender, very weak at this age of 3 to 4, even maybe up to, oof, sorry, that's my cat. So even maybe up to like teenager, they are not completely fully grown, their organs, so they're prone to different kinds of conditions. It can be either too weak or too wet, too dry. And sometimes I have to say sneezing doesn't always come from the lung. That's the beauty of Chinese medicine. It's not always when you have sneezing, you look at the nose or look at the sinus only. So that's why it's hard to answer your questions right now, but I'll answer your questions in the clinic, okay? So why cleanish mucus? Okay, cleanish mucus, you mean like water that's very clear? Okay, no answer yet, but okay, I'll answer anyways. So when you get runny nose, some people get clear, like water, basically running water. And there's also another type that's clear but very sticky. And another type that's yellow, sticky, and more serious, it can be green. But that only happens when you catch a cold. So why the difference? When you have, so imagine you have a bowl of, let's say like water. And when there's enough heat, the water evaporates, it leaves the fluid becomes more concentrated. So it becomes more sticky. So the more runnier the discharge, the more water in it. So the less runnier, like sticky, there less water in it. And when the lung is sick and when it's very hot, it can happen. It can be hot and wet, like hot and humid, like the weather. You know, in tropical weather, it's very hot and humid. It can both happen. When that happens, the discharge will become like more yellowish. I hope that answered your question. Okay, I'm gonna end it here and do the Mandarin version. Bye, everyone.